Okay. So apparently during the Bourne and I episode, we didn't hear the music, so we were just talking over it, and the chat was going nuts. So I hope everybody feels a little bit better this time around. We could hear it this time, okay? Yeah. We waited till the end of the intro song. Leafs lose. They lose the measuring stick to the Boston Bruins. I got to tell you, I'm not overreacting this game. I actually think that for the most part, the Leafs played fine. I'm not gonna do what everybody thinks I'm gonna do. Freak out, man. But
I thought you might.
Let me just say that had a lot of playoff vibes to it, brother.
Body. That reeks of Game 3. Leafs and Bruins split the first two at TD Garden. They come back to Toronto. Everybody's all fired up. Come back here and they do that in Game 3. We're all worrying going into Game 4. What's going to happen? Like, I've seen this story before. By the way, I haven't looked in a mirror in a while. I have a bad hair day for your boy. Should have brought a hat. Looking tough right now. A bit of a tough look.
That's fine. I was having a great hair day, but then I worked out and showered and it went away. I was walking through the streets feeling it.
Wow, the sun was out. No, I think what you said there, a lot of the things that happen in playoff games with this, in the bad playoff games, because listen, there's been some great playoff games over the tenure of this Leafs team. A lot more bad ones.
Fewer. Yeah.
A lot more bad ones.
Fewer.
But there's been a few good ones.
Yeah, there's
and
a good one.
I have some memories from those bad ones, and a lot of them were kind of jogged this evening.
Dude, it just that was it, right? Is if you're a fan of this team, that felt awfully familiar. The Leafs fall down early. They play basically like 10 minutes of rough hockey. They put their goaltender in a compromising position. Yeah. And then as they try to battle back against a playoff hardened team, a veteran group, a smart defensive group with a good goaltender, they struggle to find the time and space that they have in regular season games against lesser opponents. And they have a tough time closing the gap, and the margin for error becomes extremely thin. And so, yeah, to me, it's just a reminder of, if you play the Boston Bruins, and if you're going to use this as a measuring stick game, then I think it's a reminder for these guys, hey, you gotta score first. You can't let a team like the Boston Bruins go up 2 goals on you, because guess what? They're not you. They don't blow those leads.
Why do they come out like that tonight? I don't understand it. It's just I guess I should understand it with this core. But to me, this is usually a game like they show up for. It's a Monday night. It's a national game against one of their rivals. And it felt like a start against, I don't know, pick any crappy team, the Columbus Blue Jackets on a Monday night, where they slept through the first 10, 11 minutes of this game, and it cost them the game. Like, they go down 2 and they were never really back in it. And they don't really do that against this kind of team. It feels like they really do rise to the occasion in these regular season games against good teams. And after what we watched on Saturday night, where they played so great against another contender in the Eastern Conference, I was flabbergasted, quite honestly, by that start, and it cost them. It's just quiet, like just bad mistakes, no attention. Like, I mean, how many times I've said no attention to detail? You know, bad penalty that leads to a power play where they shoot one in the net, like lost a guy in the back door. Brody and Lilligren looked brutal. Like, it's bad start that killed them in a game where I really didn't expect them to have a bad start. Like, I feel like I have a good feel of this team, and I know when they're going to come out and play hard. And I was shocked by the bad start tonight. I really was.
So to me, again, if you're doing playoff scaries, which I am doing.
Yes, of course.
The Leafs drew a power play to start this game. Marner draws the high stick. They go on the power play, and the power play during the Leafs winning streak has been red hot. They've been incredible. And what happened during their power play? It was ice cold. Boston built momentum off of it. And for about the next 10 minutes, they absolutely caved in the Toronto Maple Leafs. And so, again, if you're looking at, you use the regular season as a test for the playoffs. And if you're looking at signs, you would say, hey, You need to score on your power play. That's the difference in this game. Special teams, right? Bruins capitalized on theirs. The Leafs gave up momentum on theirs. Start on time, which they didn't. You didn't even mention, the game starts with Woll having to stop a breakaway within the first 10 seconds of the contest.
Didn't mention that. Yeah.
And then, they put their basically rookie goaltender, their young goaltender, in a compromising position to start the hockey game. I got to tell you, I thought controversial decision for Sheldon Keefe to go with Joe Woll the way that Ilya Samsonov played in that last game. I thought Woll was great tonight. I have zero issue with the way that he played. I think that he actually kept the Leafs in it. I thought he was calm in the net. He looked like Joe Woll. Maybe a little early. I thought he was moving a little side to side a bit with a little bit more erratic movements than we're accustomed to seeing from him. But overall, he settled in the game, kept them in it. I don't think that this is one where you can blame the goaltender. I do think, though, that this is one where you can say, again, familiar because the other goaltender outplayed the Leafs goaltender.
For sure.
I said goaltender a lot there.
Goaltender. The tender of the goal. I feel I was shocked that it was Woll tonight. I thought the way they would set this week up is they would go Sammy Bruins twice, have Woll play against the Sabres on Wednesday and Saturday against the Habs, and they've reversed it. So if in our farmers bet about game one of the playoffs, are they trying to hide Sammy from the Bruins here?
Oh, it's funny that you think that. I thought the complete opposite, which is that this is a sign of listen, if you are playing Woll here and you're saying it's the calendar, okay? Sure, but I don't think the calendar would have affected things if Woll was the guy in net against the Rangers the other night. To me, it's like I said, 60-40. Said on my show, I think Woll is the 60-40 guy when it comes to being the starter come playoff time, and that's a nod to this. Keefe, I get it. Keefe has the excuse of the schedule. It's a good thing. You got to hammer that to Samsonov because you don't want him going off the rails.
No.
You got to. It's just because the schedule, Sammy. We would get you in there if it wasn't for this crazy schedule. We promise you, buddy. Just don't lose. We don't want to lose you. We don't want to lose you.
To me, it was just an obvious night, but it was a night, obviously, to go back to Samsonov, who was, I thought, let in 3, but made a bunch of really crucial saves on Saturday night that really, especially in overtime, the glove save on who did he rob in that big glove save? He's flashing the leather. Did he get, and he got the belt from the other goalie, which, I mean, I got to tell you, that's a hell of a teammate right there. I love to see that. But I thought for sure it would be Sammy tonight. And I thought he deserved the start, but Woll was fine. The DeBrusk shot, it's a good shot. Maybe that's the only one you could whine about. The last goal was a bit of a bad play by Lilligren or whatever. But who was it that went bar down in the slot? Zaka? That's one of the most ferocious bar downs I've seen in a while. Good shot. Didn't have a chance in the other one. But second best goalie. Swayman looked awesome tonight. I thought that, to me, that was probably the scariest thing about this Bruins team to me, thinking about a playoff series, is, first of all, the most terrifying thing is Pasternak is just a certified Leaf killer, and he was by far the best guy on the ice, no question, on both teams. He was just everywhere. Excellent. 3 primary assists, setting up everything. He's the only guy on the power play that's ever reminded me of Kucherov with his deception, the way he kind of turns that puck over, the way he kind of uses that stick. And then the other thing that scares me is Swayman's probably way better than both the Leafs goalies. And that to me is a big time worry, where if you go into a series with a team where the guy kills your franchise and the goalie may be better, those are 2 huge red flags for me heading into a playoff series against this team.
I actually don't mind the DeBrusk goal on Woll.
It's a great shot. It's a great shot.
I was going to say, how do you feel about the Tavares goal?
It was blocker side. So I always feel like goalies, high blocker, I feel is way harder than high glove, but it's a hard goal. It's a hard goal. It's a nice shot.
It's an absolute snipe. You're coming down in transition. Sure. Could he have, if out of all the goals, that's the one that I guess you would say, okay, well, maybe make a save there, right? Because the other ones, he's just helpless. It's a 10-bell save if he makes any other ones. It's a little bit more routine if he makes this one. I guess
that is a snapper. Actually, I can't give him that. I can't kill him for that. It's such a gross. That's an NHLer from the top of the circle, bar down. I should shut up. It's a
gorgeous goal. My only issue is that If it was Samsonov in net,
Ooh.
Leafs Twitter would have sent him to the gulag.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, sure.
It's
I'll
a
hear
double
that.
standard. It's a double standard for these two goalies, and to me, that's a little frustrating. But whatever. Anyways, I think Woll was good. I thought Sheldon Keefe, he actually repaid the decision. And for me, if you're looking for meaningful reps from Joe Woll and you want to have him sort of in that playoff test mode, I don't mind it. I kind of like you putting him in there for the big game at home and say, we believe in you. You're the steady guy in the net. Can I give you my red hot goaltender take though?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
You know I love red hot takes.
No, but this is genuinely like, and I think you and I both acknowledge, and our listeners would acknowledge, we're just two dumb guys who.
Oh, of course. I hope that's our number one appeal.
Yeah, who burn deep inside us. All we're ever doing is like suppressing all the dumb guy stuff that we have in our, and trying so hard to come to the microphone with some halfway decent takes, right? Just clear the mind of all the bad takes. So the panel was talking about how Woll is the calm goalie, right? And how he's a steady presence in the net. And I agree. And I think that is a good thing for this hockey team. But to me, I kind of thought a night like this is sort of where you want a little bit of the wild card Samsonov, who makes that one brilliant save that gets like the Leafs feel like they need to play with their hair on fire a little bit more because the guy behind them, they go, man, he's a little bit more erratic. And he made the one big save. And it gives them a bit of jump and a little bit of energy because that feeds into the game. And it's like, what are the Leafs? Are they a defensive team that can hang with the Bruins? If they play that style of hockey every single time, they're dead meat, right? Not just falling behind, but that's Bruins hockey that we saw tonight. Leafs are the
that's
number
going to be a
one
waste. Like Daryl Sutter said, bud, that's going to be a waste of 8 days when they're playing them in the first round. They're going to play like that.
Brother, that's Bruins style of hockey. The Leafs are a team that has the most goals per game in the NHL. They're an offensive team. And I just kind of had this random dumb guy thought of, I wonder if they have Samsonov back there, if it just changes the energy in the arena, that the calmness of Woll rubs off on them and it just makes them a little too mellowed out. And I went, anyway, it's just a dumb guy take.
Can I tell you, bud, I love you and you're really good at what you do, but that is pretty dumb.
Yeah. I know. I was reluctant to do it, but I felt it tonight. And I went, yeah, and I just. Because didn't the game feel flat to you at times?
Oh, very quiet. And it was begging out for a big hit or something like
and that's what I mean.
It wasn't enough. Yeah.
It was begging for that big old sliding out of the net.
Yeah.
Save that Samsonov makes from time. It reminds me of Charlie Kelly in the back of the bus. I cut the brakes, wild card, and he just jumps out. That's Ilya Samsonov, baby. Yeah. And sometimes you want to ride the wave. Anyway, that's enough goalie talk. Here's the positive from the game. I looked at I went to check out the analytics for tonight because I wanted to see sort of, what was happening, the 5-on-5 play, the adjusted score effects, all this stuff. Of course, the Tavares line, according to the fancy stats, was basically playing to a draw. I disagree, fancy stats. I love the Tavares line again tonight, and I feel like the Leafs have really found something with that group.
Yeah, I said it today on Kipper and Bourne. I'll say it again here. It's like, now that Tavares is playing with a real NHL winger on it, it's like, wow, he doesn't suck anymore. Like, we ever think that the amount of heavy lifting he had to do on a line playing with Nick Robertson was maybe a lot for an old guy who's maybe past his prime a little bit here? Like, Järnkrok does so much hard work on a line that it allows Tavares to be more of Tavares. Like I saw it multiple different times tonight, and Bobby McMahon too, flying around there. I'll stick with Järnkrok right now, but Järnkrok flies into the corner, puts his stick into good areas, digging at pucks, feeding it out, getting it into good areas, firing it towards the net where Tavares likes to be. Like, he is just so much better of a fit for Tavares on that line than Nick Robertson is. And I know that's not like exactly a hot take, but just think of all the stuff Tavares has to think about when he's playing with Robertson over Järnkrok. Tracking back, playing more defensively, the heavy lifting along the boards, all this stuff that he feels like he has to make up for, he doesn't have to do as much with Järnkrok. And McMahon on the other side, I can't believe this is the same guy. Like, they have truly found something here. I don't think he's ever going to score at a high rate like he was clearly that week where he's just shooting it in the net every time. But his speed and his just size, and he's imposing. I've been really impressed with him. I've liked this line, and it's something I could see translating to the playoffs. I'm with you, bud.
So McMahon was starting to play well before Tavares.
Yeah.
That said, I can't help but think Tavares' career with the Islanders, what was one of the hallmarks?
He made guys better, like
Correct.
Josh Bailey and Matt
But
Molson and
I was
other
just going to
guys
say,
like
though,
that.
but what kind of guys? A lot of
Yeah,
grinders.
yeah, grinders.
Like it's a lot of heavy guys where you went, wait,
Yeah.
they didn't have crazy careers. And I really love having an intelligent player that can play 200 feet with Yarncroc with him.
Yeah.
And Bobby McMahon, who is just relentlessly pursuing pucks in the offensive end and just plays with a nonstop motor. Like, honestly, McMahon kind of has, I don't want to go overboard, but he's got a little bit of the Hyman motor where it doesn't stop lately. Ever since he's been given this opportunity, he's just like, every shift is the exact same thing. Like, you're going to get this guy chasing it in the corners and playing desperately, sometimes to his detriment, but for the most part, it really works out for them. And so I just think what they're getting from Tavares right now is awesome. I don't know if it's chicken or egg. I can't really put my complete finger on why it's working so well, but to me, it's working. And it's like, it's one of the biggest byproducts now of everything that we might see moving forward, because that feels like a bona fide playoff line.
Yeah. And I think the problem with that line to me is that not one of those men enjoy passing the puck at all. So that's to me somewhere where they could hit a bit of a wall. All three of those guys are bona fide rippers of the puck. They love to shoot. They love to, but like, I think a lot of it'll be cycle chances, rebound chances, that sort of thing. But you're never going to see those three guys really passing the puck a whole lot. McMahon, to me, I've had moments where I'm like, oh my God, can you elevate this guy a little higher? Like, he's had moments where he's jumping off the page to me. You're not going to break this thing up, but he really has taken a step for me into bubble guy, into bona fide guy for the Leafs. I'm stunned by this. I never really saw it coming, but I mean, the good with the bad, I don't know what the fancy stats say about one line up from that line, but it felt like another kind of a cave-in night for Bertuzzi, Domi, and Nylander. It just
wasn't good for them.
I want that line to be a thing so bad because I like parts of what they do, but they just get hemmed in way too much, bud. And it's just, you picture that in a playoff series with those three guys playing together. Feels like they bring out the worst in Nylander. We saw him get benched on Saturday night. I don't love that line, and I'm not sure what you do here. So I'll leave it to you on that one.
You just keep rolling it. I'm team
keep
vibes
rocking
on
and
this.
rolling.
I said it today. I believe that intangibles in a dressing room matter and to a hockey team matter. And I stand by this, which is you're finally getting something out of Bertuzzi. I think that for a long time, people have wanted to see Nylander have to carry a line. And to me, this is if you can prove to me that there is some kind of an awesome upgrade to Max Domi, bring it on. But right now, the name that's out there is Adam Henrique, and it's going to cost you to acquire that player. And I'm not feeling that. I'm not into this whole idea.
I like Henrique a lot. He's a good player.
I'm really not into the idea of the Leafs trying to shift their offensive identity into a defensive one. And then once again, relying upon one line. Last year and in years past, they've lost because they haven't been able to find secondary offense come playoff time. Let's see if the three lines for you, there's no perfect teams. There's no perfect lines, rarely perfect lines. You're going to have flaws with your roster. And I think that for the Leafs, they just kind of have to accept that this is going to be one of them. But for me, the thing that I think does have to happen is Sheldon Keefe's going to have a pretty frank and honest discussion with Max Domi about what they need from him as a player. I just don't know if it's going to be able to get through or if you can change some of those habits this late into a career. You know what I mean? So
I'm just not sure that ability is there, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a offensive minded guy. And pretty much that's the way he goes on the ice. I don't see a ton of. He had a nice back check tonight. Lifted a guy's stick right at the last minute, but like that's not really his game. So I want to really like that line, and I like moments, but it just feels to me that there's a lot of times where they're hemmed in. They're hemmed in a lot, and you just picture that in a playoff series. But I'll give it a few more chances, I guess, for the vibes, but I don't know if it's going to be a long-term solution.
Again, like the number one analytic for me, and I'll say it again, I said it on my podcast today, I'll say it again, is the Leafs have won 9 of their last 11 games. So,
for sure.
And those included wins against Colorado Avalanche, New York Rangers, and Vegas Golden Knights. So,
and to me, this loss tonight, and you outlined it off the top, doesn't like derail the momentum tonight. They had long stretches of this game. Reminder. For sure. But they had long stretches of this game where they had their moments. They did have chances or whatever. wasn't pretty for a lot of it, but I don't think they were absolutely awful outside of the start. But yeah, it's a tough reminder that you're going to have to beat these guys, and then you're probably going to have to beat the Panthers, and then you're probably going to have to beat the Rangers 3 in a row if you want to go anywhere. So it's a tough reminder for sure.
Yeah, guess what? Hard to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's so hard. Eh?
Yeah.
Like, could they just make it a little easier one year so all our Leaf fan brothers and sisters could get one?
You know when that time was called?
Yeah, I don't even go there.
Before the salary cap, when these guys could have spent $1 billion every single year.
They could have bought the crappy Habs 2 years ago.
No, I told you. I've given you my take on that. In hindsight, I'm glad the Leafs didn't win that cup because that's a fraud cup. And it's like what the Lakers have.
The bubble cup is a fraud cup. That was the year after. That one's not fraud.
No, that one's even more fraudulent. You had the North Division. You didn't have to play. You got to play the Habs and the Winnipeg Jets to get out of that conference. No. That was the ultimate fraud. So you think that the Habs making that cup final is not fraudulent? You think it's a legit cup final?
I do think it's a legit cup final.
Okay,
I do. They beat the Leafs, who were good. They beat the Jets, and then they beat Vegas, who was good.
Anyway, I better relitigate this, but both of those cups are fraud cups. But the North Division Cup is the ultimate fraud appearance out of any team that has ever existed. Is the Montreal run. I think the Bruins also knew, like, Leafs win this, they're 4 points back, and this was just a veteran group that clamped down and said, "Hell no, we're not having you breathing down our necks. We want to have some space between you." Okay, it's time for my favorite part of the show that I always say that I'm not going to do, but then I do anyways because
ref talk.
Oh yeah, baby, ref talk. Are you kidding me? They blew 2 whistles early tonight when the Leafs had possession ahead of power plays, and then they blew one dead where it's like, where's the ref looking? You know, like, it's the puck's behind the goaltender. Bertuzzi has a tap in and he blows it dead here. Like, I don't understand where your eyes are supposed to be, if not behind. Like, it just, anyway, drove me nuts tonight. 3. And then there was a dive that they called for the Bruins. I just thought it was not the reason they lost, but not a great performance. I was like, do these guys know the rules? What's going on?
Can we get Protest the Hero to give us a sounder for ref talk too? Like, it's ref talk. Yeah, but I just, the one that is the most frustrating is the first one where Matthews has the puck on his stick in the slot and they blow it dead. I was like, what happened? Did the Leafs get a penalty here? What's going on? And then it was the Bruins, and you texted me about it. The Marner one wasn't quite as bad, but then that was, here's what I'll say. Refs, not great recently. My final take, have not been so hot recently, but that is my final take, and I have no more to add.
Ultimate dumb guy show. I threw out the stupid Samsonov
I have
take.
You want dumb guy take time?
Yeah. It's dumb guy take time. Yeah, let it free.
As a Leaf fan.
Yeah.
I
like how you qualify it like you're at the beginning. You're at the front of the class doing a presentation, like shuffling your papers. A Leaf fan.
Okay, I'm not sure, like, if the Leafs lose this game and then they lose on Thursday in Boston, okay? Just picture what the narratives around a potential first-round playoff series would be. Think of what people would be saying. They can't beat the Bruins. Bruins they can't beat any, like, there's no chance the Leafs are getting by them. Same old Leafs. Bruins own the Leafs in the playoffs. You're screwed. And then what does this team do the most out of any team? They surprise you. They'll come out. They'll be like, we're the biggest underdogs of all time, starting at TD Garden. And then they go out there and they win game 1. And it's like, oh, man, here we go. I just don't think it's the worst thing in the world for the Leafs to lose a couple games to the Bruins. A little bit of a wake-up call. They've lost all the games this year. Go in there and be like, there's no chance. This team needs to be an underdog. They need to be like, well, no one's believing in us, doubting us. Look what happened when they went up against Florida last year. It was like, everyone was like, oh, they got the Panthers. The Panthers, no problem. Bing, 5 games who were on the golf course. No one believed in them against Lightning last year.
Yeah.
They beat them. So I don't know. It's just, like I said, dumb guy hour. I truly believe this.
Yeah. All right. Time for smart guy time.
The Bruins are just way better.
No. It's not that at all. It's that I would buy this theory if, the Leafs had more than one playoff round win since I was a 16-year-old boy.
Very true.
And I think
Extremely
the
good
Leafs have
counter,
been
sir.
doubted for most of my life, brother. Like we've had hey, do you think my life has been full of, you know who's good? Leafs.
The
You know
Leafs.
who's going to win? Leafs. I basically have had 2 moments in my entire life that's happened, and they've both been crushing, where I really thought that they were going to be favored against Florida and that they were going to take advantage of that blue line, and they got spanked. And I remember being a kid looking at the Carolina series and going, I don't know how that team beats the Leafs. Like Glenn Wesley, shut up, get out of here with this team. Bang, got murdered. So those are the 2 times in my whole life where I thought that they were the better team and that they were going to win.
Tell me about heart and determination.
So there's that. And this is just how this was my thought going into the game. I actually thought it was important for the Leafs to kind of handle them and send it across the bow going, hey, it's the Malcolm in the Middle meme where it's the boys beat Hal and Dewey says, the future is now, old man. That line, because they punch him in the nuts. Yeah. It's like a classic scene from the show. I wanted one of those. Like I wanted the Leafs to just punch the Bruins in the nuts and then do the dunk and say the future is now, old man, and have the Bruins kind of going, holy crap, those guys, they play a little different. And it was just a little too familiar, which I think if the Bruins have a psychological mental edge, you don't want to give them more reassurance and then just go into your dressing room going, nobody believes in us, so that's good. Hey guys,
I said it was funny. We're hot with dumb guy takes tonight.
Everybody thinks we suck.
Just as an aside, were you Malcolm in the Middle guy? To me, it was always the half-hour grind to get to the Simpsons. So I was like, oh my god, this show, total grind. Both. Get the Simpsons on, please. No,
I was both.
You liked Malcolm in the Middle?
Big time. I was a big Malcolm in the Middle guy.
No, not me. Not me.
Yeah,
never liked it.
That was a good show. That was a good show.
So do you want to have the
that show gave us Bryan Cranston? Like,
people say it was the prequel to Breaking Bad. And when people got so excited about Breaking Bad, they're like, "Oh, you can watch it in reverse." I'm like, shut up. I watched Breaking Bad over COVID.
Yeah,
not the most fun rewatch. When you know what's coming.
This is not now the platform to spill all the bad takes at once. Like you're just letting them all out. Like,
I'm hot. Right
save this for your wife. Like, go upstairs. Take this to her. Don't drum the poor people of the show with your Breaking Bad.
Okay. So here's a take we can all agree on.
Yeah.
I don't love Lilligren against good teams.
Buddy, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but yeah. He killed them tonight. He was capital B brutal. Anyway,
speaking of fancy stats, whatever the fancy stats, I don't know. He must have
he's just brain dead sometimes.
Was he a 0% on every fancy stat chart? Like, I can't believe how bad he was tonight.
I think that he leads the Leafs in. It's funny because this is a fan base that used to whip up on Jake Gardiner, who used to lead the league in dumb guy stats, like just dumb brain dead moments. And now Lilligren's here, but the stats nerds love him, so they refuse to turn. But it's like,
play.
No, dude, brain dead. Like, so I'll tell you this. This was always the thing with Lilligren. Okay, the talent was always there. He didn't fall in the draft because of the mono. That was part of it, right? But I'm telling you that from the Marlies, that the word was always with Lilligren that they worried about the hockey IQ and the ability to just keep the attention to detail throughout a regular season. And it's not that he doesn't have the skill, because he can obviously snap a pass. He can obviously skate. He's got good size. He's right shot. There's a lot of things to like about him, and when he's going well, he's going well. And on the full, you can show me all the fancy stats you want about how he plays. I'm just telling you, like, that is the thing that has kept the organization from being totally enamored and in love with the player and having him in all situations, and kept him from the NHL. Is nights like tonight where his brain goes into sleep mode and he does stuff like tonight.
Well, you mentioned, Jake Gardiner. At least there was the other side of it where he was like dynamic offensively. So you lived with that to get to the brain farts, and those brain farts show up at the worst possible time. I'm thinking Game 7 in Boston, 1 point, maybe a -5.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's nothing like that coming in the future for Lilligren, is there? They're not going to be playing the Bruins in the first round. I don't know what you do. You can't picture. He had that little stretch there where they were playing bad teams without Riley, and he was playing with Brody, and it was looking good. It's just way too inconsistent. It's just way too up and down. It's just bad night. Couple good ones. Oh, bad. It's just, I don't know if you can play him in the playoffs again. They got to find a replacement. Maybe you put him in like a Sandin type trade from last year where it's
you ain't getting
you trade him. No, you're not getting a first, but you trade him for another defenseman. Like I know Gustafsson didn't play a ton or whatever, but just a guy like that. Maybe he's part of the Dumba trade. I don't know. But just to me, he's struggling. And it's against good teams. Boston seems to own him. He plays bad against the Bruins. I don't trust him at all. So,
here's what I would tell you is I don't think that it's out of the question. Like everyone's looking at Lyubushkin as, hey, maybe he's the 7th D and this is going to piss people off. So a good way to sign it off, because I'm sure the chat will get red hot about this, but it would not shock me if come playoff time, if they do add another right shot D, that Lilligren is the guy that ends up getting bumped again from the lineup. Like
for
that.
Sure. But how can anybody at this point be upset by that?
I think that for you know my thought on this is the same thing with Samsonov. Is I think that people formulate their opinions for the most part, and then they cheer for the take, and then they don't want to see anything else.
You mentioned Lyubushkin. Liked him tonight. I didn't think he had much of a. He got absolutely plastered by that mutant from New York, Rempe, but I thought he was pretty good tonight. Noticed him positively. He seals the boards well, not flying around out there. Had a big bomb the 1 point, so liked it. Good game for the old Boosh in a 4-1 loss to the Bruins. He's
just as advertised. My favorite thing is that new. I need to learn how to. I'm such a boomer. I don't know how to do memes. Like make some memes.
I know, me too.
But that HR, the hello, it's the handsome guy walking in hitting on the girl, and then it's the ugly guy, and she's like, hello HR. It's just the one that I saw where it was. Dubas makes the trade.
It's the best game of all time.
And then it's Tree Living makes it, and it's call HR. And I was like, that's perfect. That's the best way to put this possibly. Like,
this is a big week for old Tree, buddy. They need a D-man in here bad. Like they really do. They've been getting some contributions from Benoit, who I've seen a dip from recently.
Sure.
Like their depth is not great. Lilligren's playing way too much. Lyubushkin's way too important. They should make an impact trade here.
This is a good time to plug that I have Elliot Friedman tomorrow on my podcast. So
Friedge, love that.
Yeah. So I'll try to it'll be way more Leaf focused. It won't be like, hey, here's only a couple minutes on the Leafs. I'm like, no, we're spending time on the Leafs here. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, we're getting rumors.
Rumor boys,
getting rumors from Elliot tomorrow. So subscribe to the JD Bunkis podcast. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Simon McKee. Subscribe to this podcast as well. Leaves 5-star review if you listen on Apple or Spotify. Share it with your friends. Do all those nice things and hit the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment. Do all that nice stuff. Anything else?
All good, buddy. Hey, one more. Yeah, actually, one quick thing.
What's that?
Jersey talk. Quick.
Mm-hmm.
The Bruins jerseys aren't yellow enough. Like I like the remix, the new jerseys they've done, but that's too gold. That's not your colors. They're not wearing their colors. Like they did the nice, and I know it's for whatever anniversary they're doing the gold or whatever, but like you're not gold and black. You're yellow and black. Wear yellow and black. Those jerseys would be perfect if they had yellow and black. Pisses me off the whole time I'm watching them. Doesn't even look like the Bruins. It looks like the Penguins or something. They're wrong. They're just wrong.
I didn't think about it. Mike Jose Collins has decided to say in the chat that he thinks that that's the worst take of tonight.
Wow, that's an amazing accomplishment considering some of the takes we
had. I was going to say, considering that I said that wildcard Samsonov being erratic in the net might have given them a spark.
And Breaking Bad's a tough rewatch.
Yeah. That the Leafs, their big issue is that everybody believes in them too much. This is it. Anyways, now Mike Jose has too much confidence. Now
he's heat check.
Like, you got your one, Mike. You got your one. Shut up. Anyways, shut up, Mike.
Heat check.
Yeah, heat check. That was a big clanger, the second one.
That's a Jordan Poole.
Now, what else do you think about stuff, Mike? Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday night.
Yeah.